All right, welcome to the Second Impression podcast. I'm your host, R.A.P, aka Rhythm and Poetry. Today's guest is a hip hop artist and producer from the 705. I'd like to welcome Joey Karma.
How's it going, everybody?
There you go. We always got to add the applause.
Yes,
So,
sir.
first things first, introduce yourself to the listeners and let them know where to find you.
My name is Joey Karma. I used to go by the name K. Karma for the longest time. I'm from Sudbury, Ontario. Born and raised here. I lived in Scarborough for a couple years, but born and raised in Sudbury. You can find my music on any streaming platform. Temporarily, I do not have my YouTube videos up right now because I got a little hack that happened earlier in the year. So look out for me in the future on YouTube. But you can find my shit on every streaming platform, SoundCloud, whatever, But enough said.
Dope, dope. So, that actually brings me to the first question of the interview. How did you come up with the name Joey Karma?
Well, Joey comes from my middle name, Joseph. And karma comes from my belief system. Like I grew up Catholic, I was raised Catholic, but I ended up turning like into a little bit of more of a spiritual person, I'd say. I don't know. I
Okay.
look at karma. Yeah, I look at karma as like, you put out good energy in the world, you do good things for people, and you don't it doesn't mean you necessarily think about what's going to come back to you, but it's a part of the game. You do bad, you're a bad person, you constantly do bad, you wish bad upon others, and it's definitely going to come back to you. And I look at life like that. I try to be positive on anybody I see, anybody I meet. um, I move past little quarrels or little issues through music instead of actually holding on to grudges and letting it be a chip on my shoulder. So karma has always been kind of like a spiritual belief to me.
Man, I feel like as well having like
And
a mindset
oh
like
my
that
bad.
keeps everything like real clear,
Yeah,
where you don't
yeah,
have like you say like quarrels or any kind of like stuff like that really like holding you down because sometimes that carries a big weight.
definitely, definitely. And yeah, it ended up coming from one of my good friends. He was just like, this one situation happened where I was playing hockey. Actually, I grew up playing hockey a lot, and there were always like beefs, and I became like the bully on the team. Where like if somebody bullied one of my players, I was the guy who coming after you for bullying my player. And the same thing in high school. Like I'd watch people get picked on or whatever like that, and I'd defend the person who was getting picked on and stand up to the bully for them. And that's sort of where karma came from, like earlier in life. The word, the name.
Dope. I really like that. So yeah, move on to question number two. What vibes can people expect while listening to your music?
Uh, I'd say for the most part, my music's it's a little bit emo. As much as it's hip hop, it's R&B, it's a little poppy. It's very emotional. Um, it's like every song is like a new journal entry for me. So I'll release whatever's on my mind, whatever's in my heart, whether it has to do with that day or the last couple weeks consecutively or the last year, all gathered into one thought process. Um, I'd say it's, yeah, emotional, soul. There's a little bit of soul in there. I like to be melodic and sing a little bit, so it's a little less rap and less punchlines than it used to be, but there are punchlines. As much as I'm singing and doing melodic stuff, I'm still putting punchlines in there. I still try to be witty about some of my bars. Um, I like to be original. I don't like to sound like nobody, so you can expect original, emotional, soul, hip hop, R&B.
Nice. You could definitely hear too, like the fact that you leave a piece of you like in every single song that you do. Like it's not just because some people put out a lot of content, right? And some people you could tell that they just push songs out. But even
Yeah,
with a high volume of your music coming out, you still have a little piece of you in every single song that you're putting out. You still put your heart in it, your soul in it, and that's something really
yeah.
respectful.
Thank you, thank you. That's
No
definitely
problem.
uh, that's definitely something I aim to do. Is like I like to be vulnerable, So I'm not scared to say whatever the hell's on my mind, whether it makes me look like an idiot or whether it's the reality of a certain situation. And like you said, like yeah, a piece of me isn't that part of me itself. Just the vulnerability is in every song, and there's always a part of my story in every song. You know,
So cool. So yeah, we'll move on to question number three. So who could you say inspired you to start making music?
inspired me to start making music. I grew up listening to a lot of different music, so a lot of different vibes. Like my moms would listen to like Jan Arden and UB40, Amanda Marshall, Sheryl Crow, Michael Jackson, and stuff. And my pops would listen to like Bob Marley, uh, and the Wailers and people like that. And then like on the side of that, even like Rod Stewart, things like that.
Hmm.
A little bit, just a little bit of everything. So my dad always supported every music genre. So even like when I was a teenager, he was buying the Eminem albums and stuff. He was buying these type of albums to play, to drive himself to work, to Inco or whatever he was doing. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
was uh he was possibly even a little bit more into hip hop, listening to it than me, because I like to listen to a lot of soul music. I like to listen to a lot of '60s vibes. Um, yeah, I was just inspired by music itself. I feel like, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to start recording at like a young age, and just recording itself, writing out songs. um that alone inspired me. But like, I was definitely, my ears were inspired by every genre, like the best music of every genre, or the most emotional music of every genre has always kind of hit me.
Yeah, I could definitely respect that too, because myself, I've spoken before about like growing up around different genres really makes your music unique into itself. Because I feel like if people put themselves in a box and only listen to hip hop and only make hip hop, like there's only so much you're going to be able to do until you start sounding like kind of like drowned out by everything else, kind of thing, right? But
100%.
yeah, with my stepdad growing up, the main three main things we used to listen to all the time growing up was Kiss, Garth Brooks, and Elvis Presley all the time.
Yeah, Garth Brooks. I remember my mom was listening to that too. A lot of
Yeah.
Garth Brooks. Yeah, man. Like I said, it's just a multitude of genres. I was just listening to a bit of everything all the time. Like, sure, I listened to like DMX, Wu Tang, Big L, Big Pun, and these type of artists in the '90s. I was just a little kid though. I was like 7, 6, and stuff, listening to Pac, listening to Biggie and Big L and stuff. So I wasn't necessarily only focused on that. I got into it, like I said, I got into a bit of everything, and that
Yeah.
kind of all led me into wanting to write, make my own music.
Dope, man. Cool. So I'll move on to question number four. What would you say was the best advice you received that helped push you forward in music?
The best advice, I would say, it actually comes from an Ontario-born artist, Peter Jackson.
Okay.
He told me one time, I think it was like 2016 or 2017, we were in London, Ontario, and he brought me up to his hotel room. He wanted to like give me the down low and the scoop on his kind of like picturesque vision for his future and what he was gonna do, and he told me what he thinks I should do. And he said the best thing that you could ever do out of any step, any idea, is to just invest in yourself, invest in your people, invest in your own circle, and build from there, because that itself is going to be its own scene. It's going to add to the culture, and it's going to do a lot for your city. So invest in yourself, invest in your people. Whether you're not looking for it to always come back or get a return on it, but investing time, investing money, investing emotions into the people around you and yourself is always the best step I've used.
Hmm. Definitely making those connections with those people around you. That's definitely really important.
Yeah, and like what I mean when I say like invest in yourself, like that doesn't necessarily mean money. It's just like you got to look out for yourself. You got to manifest things for yourself. You got to have a vision of your end game, your end goal, your end projects. What kind of things are you going to put out? you have to invest the time into the thought sometimes before you even get to the page or start recording, you know?
Yeah, this is true. Oh yeah, so I'll move on to question number five.
Uh,
With loads of songs and projects under your belt, I'd like to ask where your representation of Northern Pride originated from.
uh, I would say just technically growing up here. Like, I have songs on like SoundClick when I was a little kid, 12, 13, where I'm yelling North Side for life, and I'm yelling 705 and stuff. So like I always had pride from where I came from, you know, because it's where I'm from. I grew up fighting here, going to dances, dating girls, playing hockey, going to school, you know, a bit of everything. This is like my home ground. So I love it's like a family to me, like the whole city, you know, whoever I know and whoever I don't know. I treat everyone as an equal until they do me wrong, then I might just not treat them at all. It doesn't mean they're not equal. Like, you know, we're all equals out here. So to me, it's a big family. The city's a big family. They go through a lot of there's ups and downs, you know. There's times where people are closer, there's times where they're more separated. People are working solo or people are working in groups. It comes and it goes, and it's definitely a family mentality that I've carried, and it led me to have a big family aside from a music. um, yeah, I consider everybody that I've ever worked with a part of my family, you know, a part of my extended family. So I think that's where my northern pride would kind of come from and be home base to me, you know.
That's dope, and that really goes back and touches on the part of you saying how you kind of leave a piece of you along with all of your music and stuff, because like that's such a really big piece of you. Like you said, that's where you went and dance and where you met girls and stuff like that. You know, like
Yeah,
it's
like everything. Like I was dumb before. Like I used to go out, you know, do all types of shit, all types of bad shit, and I was a trouble kid for a long time. And once I grew up, I really fell more in love with my city because my mind became clean, and I realized that I didn't need to be who I already was to please people. Like, I had already been through it. I didn't need to keep going through it. So I matured, I grew up, changed my decisions. It might have like affected some people around me who still want to be caught up in the same type of shit, but I left I left trouble behind to grow up, to mature, you know what I mean? So my pride is in that itself as well. It's like I'm proud that I don't do drugs and I haven't done certain types of drugs, and I've always been clear-minded, and you know, I've always been a pretty good guy as much as I used to do a lot of bad stuff growing up, you know? Got to whatever, you know?
hey man, there's always time to flip the script. You know what I mean? Like just because you've done wrong in the past doesn't mean that you can't evolve or develop into a good person. You know.
Exactly, exactly.
Cool. So I'll move on to the last question of the interview. So the last question is, what's your plan for your future in music?
Well, with music itself, me and music have like a touch and go relationship. Like the last 6 months, I put a lot of time into recording and making the best material that I ever have. I feel. Usually I don't do that. Usually I take a couple months, make a bunch of projects, and start rolling them out. I haven't really released anything for like 5 6 months, and it's only because my goal for the end of just this year and the start of next year is to have like my best music ever, and to really make my fans proud, make my city proud, make anybody who ever really know me proud to say, "Oh, I know that guy. Yo, I know I like yo, you listen to this song, I know that guy. This is Karma." About Cuz it already happens, but I want to make it more genuine. I want to make it so genuine that it's they feel it. They feel it a lot more, you know? I like the positive feedback that I get, but I want realer feedback. So I've been digging more. I've been going out of my way to dig for like negative feedback or like direct input from people who don't fuck with my music or whatever the case. Which sometimes, you know, you need to grow. So this year alone, I've been planning. It's just been growth. It's been all growth, all around growth. My new project that I've been working on, it's called Swimming Uphill. It's 11 to 12 tracks. I got some good features on there, and I put a lot of time into it, thought wise and emotionally wise, and going back, redoing something, redoing it. Oh, it's not good enough. Going back, redoing the same thing. You know what I mean? just making it the best I could because I never really did that. So my end goal ultimately is just to get better, just to grow, to master my craft more, possibly dive into different genres in the future, but to help out people around me making music, put my heart into their music as well, my time into their music, um, to help my city in any way or form. If I get the opportunity to get in some sort of financial place where I can just help everybody, like I'm definitely gonna do that. My heart, my mind has been in the right place, even when I was a young thug doing stupid shit. Like my heart, my mind has always kind of been in the right place, and I like to do good for people. So my end goal is to ultimately do more for my city as I get older.
Well, that's very noble of you for putting on for your city and not making sure everybody kind of gets elevated to the same status as you are. And I really can't wait to hear more projects from you, man. Definitely at the end of this year.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be dropping this project in September. This 11-track album. So September is gonna be the drop, and then I got new videos. So I'm gonna have to reload all my old videos. I got hacked or whatever. Like the whole channel got hacked with like groups and groups of artists on this channel. So I'm gonna have to rebuild off that. But that was for the city as well. You know what I mean? So definitely, definitely. Thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem. And hopefully that got you guys to know Joey Karma a little bit more. So now we're going to be moving on to our Quiz the Wiz segment of this show. Essentially, if you guys have never experienced this before, what we do before the show is that we get three categories from our guest, and then we make a little quiz, and yeah, we just quiz them on them, see how much they get right, see how much they get wrong. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool.
I'm down, man. I'm excited.
So the three topics that we picked today are current music industry news, 90s hip hop artists, and Stranger Things.
Hell yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with question number one. This is a current music industry news question. So,
Okay.
what rap group recently got an intersection named after them in the Lower East Side of New York?
The locks.
Is that your final answer?
Lower East Side of New York. Lower East Side of New York. Ooh. Unless we're talking older than that. I'm gonna say D Block, the locks, but I think I'm wrong.
Unfortunately, that was incorrect. The correct answer was the Beastie Boys. They finally
Oh
got an
yeah,
intersection
yeah.
named after
You're
them.
right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
after a 9 year battle, their fans, not that the BC Boys asked for this to happen, but their fans have been battling for it to happen for 9 years, and it finally just happened this year.
Oh, they deserve that. They deserve that. They're legends.
BC
That's
Boys,
huge.
100%.
That's huge.
All right, so move on to question number two. So this
Okay.
goes into 90s hip hop artists.
Okay.
Where was the American hip hop group WuTang Clan formed?
Staten Island.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
There you go. That's the correct. They were formed on Staten Island, New York in 1992.
Yes, sir.
Wu
Mm-hmm.
Tang. Cool. So now we'll move on to question number three. This goes to Stranger Things.
All right.
Um, how many seasons of Stranger Things are there currently available for viewing?
Currently, so there's four, but there's part two. There's part one and two of season four. So like I'd say there's four seasons, but they've kind of added to that fourth season, but four seasons.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir.
That is correct. So there is definitely four seasons. Man, I would say I have a couple of friends that have been telling me more about Stranger Things recently, and like putting this quiz together. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
watch the show, but I also
Oh,
got a
you
couple of
have to,
spoilers
bro.
already, bro.
It's got the best. It's got the best 80s vibes, 90s vibes. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. It's a good show.
I
All
definitely gotta
ages. It's
check
for
that out.
all ages. That show, like nine and up. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dope, dope. So we'll move on to question number four. This goes back to current music industry news.
Got
So this
you.
is a true or false question.
Okay.
Drake announced a 3-day festival called October World Weekend that will feature a small Young Money reunion. Is that true or false?
October World Weekend. October World Weekend. Mm, sounds too good to be true. I'm gonna say false.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Oh no.
No, it is true.
Wow, that's dope. That's really dope though.
It's a weird
I
name though,
just figured,
man.
Drake has so many festivals that he started up. I'm like, nah, there's no way he did another one. But it sounded too good to be true. But that's amazing. Good on Drake, man. That's dope.
I love
He's a goat.
how
He's a goat.
he's got to throw that October and everything, you know.
Mm-hmm. October's very own, man. He's a
Yeah,
Scorpio. He has to. He has to carry it out.
that's true. Cool. So we'll move on to question number 5. This goes back to 90s hip hop artists.
All right.
What female artist created "Doo Wop," That Thing, Everything Is Everything, and Can't Take My Eyes Off You?
Everything, everything. That's I want to say Lauryn Hill.
Is that your final answer?
Ooh. Doo Wop. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That is correct. It is Miss Lauryn Hill.
Beauty, beauty, beauty. I
Killing
heard
it.
everything is everything. Just going through my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Lauren. That's Lauren.
Dope, dope. We're doing good. So we'll move on to question number 6. This is back to Stranger Things.
All right.
How old was actress Millie Bobby Brown when she started on her role as Stranger Things as 11?
When she started, eh? When she started. 'Cause I know she's a teenager now. I'll say 8, 9?
Is that your final
9. I'll
answer?
go with 9. Yeah, 9.
She was
Ooh.
not 9. She's actually 12 years old when she started
Oh
off on
my
Stranger
God.
Things.
That's crazy. See, when you watch it, bro, you're gonna be like, this girl don't look 12 years old. She look 8 years old. But that's dope. Shout out Millie Bobby Brown. She kills that shit.
Man, what is she's like 18 now? It's like 6 years on like one
Oh,
running
she
series.
18, man. She still looks
Yeah,
15. Like that's crazy. She still looks like a teenager. Like that's crazy.
yeah. Cool. So we'll move on to question number 7. This goes back to current music industry news.
All right.
Um, Sam Taylor Johnson, the director of this book turned movie, will oversee the upcoming Amy Winehouse biopic. So, what is the name of the movie that he's directed?
The new Amy Winehouse movie.
Yeah, the director of that movie is the director of another book that turned into a movie.
Yeah. Um, the new Amy Winehouse movie. I don't even know. I don't know honestly. I can't lie on that one. I can't even guess.
So Sam Taylor Johnson is the original director of 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to be doing the biopic for Amy Winehouse, the upcoming
Oh, you
movie.
were asking what was the original movie he did?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't even catch it like that. My bad, my bad. I still
that's
want to
all
know,
good.
and it was 50 Shades. I was about to say it was This Is Us, the TV series. So good thing I didn't say it. Good shit.
Cool. So we'll move on to question number 8. This goes back to 90s hip hop artists.
Mm-hmm.
What famous hip hop group paired up with Aerosmith to release a rock rap version of Walk This Way?
Walk this way. What group? I thought it was. I didn't even. I don't really consider them hip hop, but I guess they are. But I thought it was Mike Shinoda, whatever, and those guys, those Canadian artists. What group worked with Aerosmith? Walk this way. Mm, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's a good question.
So the answer for that would be Run DMC.
Oh, that's super dope. That's super dope. I think I caught it before, but man, I couldn't think of it for the life of me. I was like, yo, what? That was a
Honestly, I
good
think
question.
the first time I heard of that was playing the Guitar Hero Aerosmith. They had that version of the song on on the
On
game,
there,
man.
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, it
that's
was
dope.
sick.
That's super dope. Yeah, running the boys they're legends. So like, that's huge. That's a big move. Good
Yeah.
question. Great question.
So we'll move on to the last question. So this goes back to Stranger Things.
Okay.
Considered to be a main villain in Stranger Things, what is the name of the creature known as the Shadow Monster?
The creature known as a shadow monster is technically the bad guy. So Vecna. It's yeah, it's Vecna, which is one. It's actually it's somebody, but Vecna.
Is that your final answer?
I'm gonna say yeah. Oh what?
So Vecna is the main villain in season four, but in the season two and season three, they're fighting against the Mind Flayer, is what his name is.
Yeah, the mind flare. Oh, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right. You're right. You're right. In my mind, I'm tying the mind flare to Vecna. Like like
yeah.
they were all kind of being controlled by this puppet master the whole time secretly. Is how I'm looking at it. But you're right. That's the right answer. Mind flare. The first
All
three
right.
seasons. Yeah,
So from 1 out of 9, what do you think your score was?
I think five maybe.
5. Okay. Well, we're gonna drum roll and tally up your score here. So you got 3 out of 9 right.
Gee.
Give you the golf clap.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Jay Z says, Thank you. You're
No,
far
those
too
were good
kind."
questions, man. Those were some good questions, man. Like I was trying to go, like, you know what I mean? I was going off my like mind, so those are really good questions. Like, some of those you don't hug into your memory, so that was dope.
Hey man, I'm really glad you enjoyed it, bro. I'm really happy you smashed that Lauren Hill question because
Hell yeah.
she's a dope artist.
Oh man. She's the best. Sister Act 2.
Oh,
Whew. Crazy. Crazy.
yeah. All right, so that ends the quiz of the whiz portion of this show. So now we're going to take a quick break and listen to a track by our guest. This is Hearts in the North by Joey Karma. Let's check it out.
Big up.
How damn by the rule? How damn by the rule? I'm the one sound you hear my pain. How damn by the rule? We gon' bang that name. Put my heart up in the north, they gon' know my name. Heart up in the north, they gon' know my name. Put my heart up in the cold, try to kill their pain. How damn by the rule? We gon' bang that name. Heart up in the north, they gon' know my name. Yeah, they really won't play, but it's not a game. My heart up in the cold, try to kill their pain. Put my heart up in the north side. Now they got me on the wrong side. Swear they want me walking by the dark side. Lost on the block by the rock, no part time. They gon' run they deep, Larry Bird every night time. Lost in my zone, I'll be there till the night down. Leave that boy alone like a dog. Time can't look back these days, it's crunch time. I've been cooking dreams by the road. Had to leave that shit alone. Cause when you get lost on the north side, they be reaching for your soul. whole try to kill the pain. They gon' know my name out there by the road.
Welcome back. Once again, that was Hearts in the North by Joey Karma. Now, we're going to be moving on to the last segment of our show. This is called Do You Remember? So, in this segment, basically what we do, once again, we get a category or subject from our guest before the show to talk about for a few minutes. So, today's category or subject that was chosen was Napster and where streaming started. So, you have some memories about that you want to throw out there, man?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of memories about it. So I remember to the point where, like, I was like maybe 8 around this time, 9 maybe, downloading songs off Napster, and they take like 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes a song. And if you tried to download a music video because you only saw it once on Much Music or something and you couldn't find it again, you know what I mean? It was hard to find. If you try to download a music video, it would take you a whole day. You come back from school and see if the video's done downloading, you know? Shit was legendary, man. And you make the best mixtapes. You download your favorite songs. You burn a CD. That's when CD burners were really like a big thing, you know? You burn
Yeah.
your CD right in your computer, make a nice cover, bring it to school. Then people want to buy your CD, so you make copies of it. Like, those were the days, man. Like, the first, and artists must have been mad because at first they weren't receiving royalties. This stuff was illegally getting downloaded all over the world. People were playing songs and whatever, which is good. Spread the love, spread the music. But a lot of these artists were probably mad, being the tight asses they are. They were probably pissed because they weren't receiving royalties at first. You know, that shit was like just the mentality, just the whole mentality of downloading a song. Oh, I gotta go home and download that song you just showed me. Like, that was the thing, you know, like, because you couldn't get some of these songs in record stores and you couldn't get them elsewhere. They were like the rare songs. There was always those few rare songs or those few remixes that you couldn't find nowhere, that you could only get back then on like Kazaa, Napster, or BearShare, or they had a couple other names, a bunch of them, you know?
Yeah, honestly, too, and like sitting and thinking about it now, like looking back, like at that time, it was a very pivotal moment for the music industry because they were going from like, merch sales, ticket sales, record sales, and CD sales and stuff like that into the world of
Yep.
streaming and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
man.
right?
And it was kind of a piss off. Like, that's the sad part, because of the artist side of me didn't like it, but I did it. Like, I'm as guilty, you know, as anybody who didn't even look at it like that. Like, I was kind of mad at it. It's like, you know, video killed the the radio star, you know, video killed
Yeah.
the true artist, you know. It's the same idea. Like, it's just like you're taking a piece of music that will never come back like that again. But look where music is today. Like, there's so many great levels. Like, the artists themselves worldwide have started to master their craft more than ever, I feel like. And we might not have all the same like legendary rock or soul that we had back then, but there are artists in this day and age that can still sound like they come from the 60s or they come from the 70s, or their rock sounds like it's 30 years old. Like, we still have that, I don't know how you say it, but like well-aged proficiency levels that have been raised and raised and raised, and the bar keeps raising every couple of years, and that's amazing, you know.
It's
So
true, and I could honestly say like I've had a conversation like this a few times with some people, and it's like you could tell where we still have music that's just as good and could be just as good and popular as like in the old days. But nowadays,
yeah,
when you're making the music, a lot of it is about like the cloud around it and the it's more of a popularity contest and stuff and like a
it
beauty
seems
pageant
so,
shit
bro.
and shit are
That's
people
yeah,
people are
that's
doing stuff like that and not like you look at the in the past like bro Mick Jagger for example is one of the ugliest people I've ever seen in my life but makes the best music, you know what I mean, like they
yo,
at that point they
Freeway and Beanie Siegel said it best. They said you gotta be ugly and know how to rap to get in the industry. You have to be ugly. Like, they literally said that back in the day, bro. You gotta be ugly and know how to rap, and you're good.
It's true, man. Because like
So
at
I
that point,
assume,
like it was still a popularity contest, but the beauty part of it didn't matter so much. You know, it was more about the
yeah,
talent.
man. And I assume it still goes like that when it comes to certain genres. It's just and it makes sense because like a lot of guys that have, I don't know, the looks or whatever the case are full of themselves for the wrong reasons, and then they won't work on the artist side or they won't care about the business side, and they should.
Yeah,
They really should, you know. So the underdogs kind of, you know, sometimes get that trophy first. It's
it's
I
true.
totally understand the aspect. So, but yeah, like I said, I was a little upset but that artist side of me was upset with the industry for letting it even happen. Like Bear Share and Kazaa, as much as I was downloading, making my mixtapes, a part of me didn't like it. Yeah, it was definitely a change, like you said, a change in the whole music industry itself, right there and then. Like it was a sort of a wake up call too, at the same time, for people who maybe wanted that in store album to be the biggest thing in their goal on their bucket list, but now it had to be thinking of the streaming system that was about to come into play. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and being able to push that and stuff, and it being a completely new, I guess, strategy and way to look at things and stuff. You know, is like
yeah, man,
how are we gonna try to make up for the lack of sales of people streaming our music or illegally downloading our music and
exactly,
stuff like that, right?
exactly, and it's sadly it became like a lot of the music you can get drowned in, but it doesn't mean it's not good. But it, like you said, it's chasing clout, this, that. I like to admire the artists or the rappers or the hip hop artists and rap artists and R&B artists that kind of like don't so much focus on that and more focus on, like, you know what, all the greats that have died over the past couple years, like Juice World, Lil Peep, King Von. All these artists had like an emotion, very emotional or a very angry side to them, and that always sold me more in an artist. So I'm not, I don't, I've never been big on the artists that are like, you know, clout. Like it's weird to me when I see artists from Subri or something sounding like a drill artist or something and shit like that. That shit's weird to me because
Yeah.
we should sound like Ontario. We have our own sound. We should sound like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's like it goes back to what I said earlier. I like to be original. I like to make it original and sound like nobody, rather than sound like anybody. But a lot of people like to sound like other people, so they'll copy their genres or their style of rap or whatever the scenario is. You know?
Yeah, like honestly, I feel until this year I haven't really really fully paid attention, but like at the start of this year, I made a movement in February called Fanfare February, where we were trying to push only listening to independent artists,
Yeah.
regardless of where they're from, and just like kind of like focusing on that type of thing and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
basically, since then up until now, I don't listen to a lot of mainstream music anymore. I like listening to
Oh.
independent artists because, like how we were talking about how a lot of stuff is like a beauty pageant or like a popularity contest, and
Yeah.
you still have the people that are making the same level of music back in the day, but now it's more
Oh yeah.
saturated because of all of the stuff in the market that you just have to dig to find it. You know?
Yeah, man. Because like independent artists are always gonna be better for only like they might not be taken better, but legitimately like the vibes, the frequencies, what you're listening to, what it's gonna do for you spiritually, and like in the end is always going to be better for you no matter what. You know what I mean? Some independent music is pure healing right off the get-go, and when you listen to industry music, no offense to the industry, and they know this, it's a controlled level of saturation in order to captivate the viewer or the listener, but lead them in a direction where they want to buy certain things, they want to be certain people, they want to do certain things, you know. And that's not what music should do. That's not healing. There's nothing healing about that. So technically, to me and to a lot of people, the independent artists are the ones who deserve the most respect, you know. And there's a lot of independent artists who are bumping heads with major labels and major heads every day. So it's shout out to all the independent artists in the world. You know what I mean? That's the real war right there. Like, you know?
It's true, and I could definitely stand by that and say I've heard independent artists that have moved me more than any mainstream
Yeah,
artist
man.
do, you know.
Look
And
at Mula. Look at Mula. Like, shout out to Drake for doing some dope music, but Mula, the energy and the mind state and the level of consciousness this guy's bringing to Toronto and the whole scene in Canada is huge. So like,
Mhm.
and he's indie as hell. You know what I mean? Like what he's doing is stronger than any rap hip hop artist signed to any label in Canada, and it doesn't have anything to do with views. It's what he's bringing to the table, the energy. You know, like it's a lot.
Yeah,
Like shout out art any artist like that. Like that's to me, those are the true artists, and they deserve their trophies more than anybody. Like
that's true. They deserve their roses, man. That's for sure.
yeah, man.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'd also like to thank Joey Karma for coming on today's episode. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, brother. Thank you for having me. Thank you everybody for listening, and anybody who listens. Shout out to you.
No problem. We're definitely gonna have to get you on a future episode, probably next year, and see where you're at doing stuff, man.
Definitely, definitely. Hopefully, it's a whole nother level. You know.
Man, knowing you, I believe it's gonna be on a whole nother level, bro.
Yeah, it could. I get it. Like I said earlier, like me and releasing music have a touch and go relationship. Like I've recorded 300-400 songs in the last 2 fucking years alone, but I've only released maybe 13 of them. You know what I mean? And I have another 11 coming. Like I'm very picky, and I'm very unique about in a way, not even, it might not be positive way, but I'm unique about when I drop my shit, and I don't mind ghosting out a bit to make my shit better and come back with more to say. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm excited for next year. I'm excited for the end of the year. I'm excited for September when I drop this, and I'm excited for the promotion I'm about to start doing for it. I'm excited for all of that. So look out for Joey Karma, Swimming Uphill, coming September. That's all I can say.
man, we're excited. I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna have my ears out, man. But yeah, guys, tune in next week to the Second Impression podcast and chill with me, R.A.P, and our new guest. Good night, everyone.